Hey guys, welcome back to Inverted Adventures RC. Today we're going to start episode 2 of the Team Associated 4-wheel drive buggy build, and we're going to dive right in, so check it out. Alright, so we are going to start with the chassis assembly, and fortunately Team Associated is a really cool thing. All the parts bags are labeled, and it just goes right in order. So this is bag 1, so all the chassis parts, and that's all you got to do. So we are going to get some of these off of here. I need to get my X-Acto knife to get this cleaned up. Alright, so clean up all these little burrs. Make sure that's nice and clean. Alright, got that one done. This one has just a little bit on there. Alright. And also very nice, they put the screws in the bag with it. So, tear them open. I'm going to dump them out in here so I don't lose any of them. Alright. So, first thing I want you to do is take this, lay out your side guards. I believe they are to go just like that. And let's see here. So you're going to take your posts off the tree. Let's see, this is the... Okay, so these are the low profile ones. I don't think we want those. I think we are going to want the standard height. So this one is going to go in here. If she fits. Nice snug fit there. And then this one, I guess we do not put that on there yet. Nope, so we're not going to put that on here. Alright. We're going to flip-flop this over, get some of our bolts. So we are going to use the 3x8s, and just to make sure I'm using the right ones, we're going to go over here, M3x8 on our 1:1 scale diagram, and oops, make sure these are the right size heads. Yes, they are. Alright, so we're going to alright, and I dropped a piece already because I wasn't paying attention. Alright, there we go. I'm going to take that. This goes back in here. We're going to use 2 of the 3x10s, which I'm going to assume are these 2 right here. I'll check my chart. 3x10. Oh, no, those are too long. So we'll go with that one. Just a little bit longer. Alright, so I think I used the wrong. Nope. Pull that body post down into place and snug her up. Alright. Another 3x8 for the front. Alright, so we have side 1 done. The screws should be nice and flush. Flathead screws, not the button heads. Now we are going to do side 2. The only difference in side 2 is instead of a post, there's a M3 nut that goes down in here, just like so. And then you slap that on there. So we'll skip past that, and I will show you guys the next step after I'm done. Alright, so now that we bought both of our sides on there, the next step is to put the chassis braces in, which are this and this. So this one is going to lay, let's see, looks like it lays right there. And this one will lay up front. Oh, no, I think this is the rear brace. So this is the front brace, and it attaches right to there. And this one will go right there. So I'm going to get that bolted on. I don't want to bore you guys with a whole bunch of fast forward, so I'm going to show a little bit of my work, but I'm not going to show you everything because otherwise this video is going to be 3 times as long and it's just going to be me fast forwarding through stuff. So I'm going to get this started and we'll be right back. Alright, so I got the chassis braces started. That's where they're going to lay on the front and the front and the rear. And I got all the bolts started, so we're going to snug them all up. Alright, so now that we got them snugged down, we are going to move on to the next pieces, which I believe are the chassis brace supports, which will lay over top, like that and like that. So I'm going to get those mounted up and we'll be right back. Alright, so we have the brace supports in place. They're right here and right here. Got all the bolts started, so they're mounted on there nice. Use all the flat screws on the bottom and then the button heads on top. And we're going to snug these down, and then we'll move on to the next part. Alright, so we got the chassis braces and the chassis brace supports on. Next up is to mount the ESC tray, and I'm also going to put the fan mount on here. I'm not sure if he's going to put a fan on there, but the directions tell you to, so I will make sure that's in place, and everything's good to go. So I got the ESC tray mounted up on here. I just got to snug the bolts down. They go on from underneath. Couple quick turns there, and there. Now the ESC tray is nice and secure in there, and I'm also going to run the fan mount down just so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle here. And then if he wants to put a fan on there, he can. I think he might. I'm not really sure. I probably would. I don't know, but I don't know what I'm talking about here. So. Alright, so we got the fan mount, we've got the side skirts, chassis brace supports, and the ESC tray. So that is all for bag 1 and the first couple steps. So next it'll be on to bag 2. Alright, so we're moving on to bag 2, which is going to be the front and rear lower control arms. I already took them apart, took them off the trees, and sorted everything out. This is the order for the front and then the back that these are going to have to go in the car. It's very important to make sure that these arms are going to move freely up and down so that you don't have any binding or dragging on the suspension when everything's put together. So that's important. You got to make sure you put these little inserts in these nice aluminum pieces properly. So there's some shims also that need to go in the front and back, so you got to definitely pay attention when you're doing this step. But we're going to go ahead and get started on the front half and get the front arms on. Alright, so the next step, you want to, all of these arms have little inserts that go in them. And they come in different offsets. As you can see, these ones are kind of offset a little differently. There's a couple sheets of these. And it is very important. The book tells you, see, these ones are centered. These ones are centered. These ones are offset and down, and then these ones are centered. You want to make sure that those are correct when you put them in there, otherwise the suspension is not going to sit right. So I got those in the fronts and the rears. The first thing we're going to do is get some blue Loctite, and this suggested, and I would always do it anyway, anything that's metal into metal threads, I like to put Loctite on because you don't want that to back out. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure all these bolts are the same size, because I believe they are. There's a button head one, so we're going to leave that one out. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rear mount for the front lower control arms on, and then we'll be back to put the arms in. Alright, so next, now that we have this front rearward lower mount on, Loctite on the bolts, proper inserts in, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure these shims, there's tiny shims, the thin ones go in the front and the thick ones go in the back. But for one, don't miss them on the parch tree when you take them apart. And two, you've got to make sure there's a very, very tiny difference in the length of these shafts, but the longer shafts go in the rear and the shorter shafts go in the front. Otherwise, these arms are not going to go in there right. You're going to have a hard time putting it together. And to make sure I don't lose the shim, what I'm going to do is put the shim on here first and then stick the pin in, and the same for the other side. And that way we don't forget the shims. It's not a pain to put them together, and then make sure your arms are oriented right, and then you can slide your arms back on here you've got the proper shim in the back. Take your front mount, make sure your inserts are in there correctly. And that slides right in just like that. So then what you'll do, I believe this plastic mount here goes on front. Whoops. I'm gonna need the bolt to hold that in. So I'm gonna bolt that in, and then we're gonna go underneath and bolt this front plate down, put some Loctite on those bolts, and the front arms will be mounted up. All right, so I got the lower bolts started. We're gonna snug them up real quick. Make sure there's Loctite on them, and I'm being a little extra careful. If it was my own car, I might not be as careful, but I'm making sure to wipe all the extra Loctite off because I don't want smudges and stuff all over the place. Make sure this front bolt is tight. All right, now we've got front suspension arms, and you want to make sure they're going to move freely. That one's just a little bit. I might have to take that one back apart. This one moves real nice. I might have to take that one back apart and clean that up just a little bit so it's got a little more play, but we got the front arms on. Next we'll move to the back. All right, so with your front arms on, and they've got some really good movement there, we're gonna move on to the back, and the first thing you do is put part C, which you wanna make sure, looking at the diagram, and I believe it's because of the offset of this arm, or this mount itself, but you want the pinholes down and out on the inserts. So we're gonna have that set up like that. Same thing with the side. This side has a little bit thicker shims. And you're gonna put your pin, now these are the longer pins. Longer pins go on the rear. First we're gonna clean that up just a little bit. All right, so now that little bit of tag end is cleaned up off of there, we are gonna put the pin in with the shim. Same for this side. Put the shim on the pin. Pin in the insert. Then you're gonna take your rear arms, slide them on there. Slide that one on there. And then you're going to take part D, make sure it's facing the right direction because there's little nubs on one side and it's smooth on the other. Make sure it's oriented right. And you are going to go ahead and get these pins lined up in there. And for some reason that does not look right, so I'm going to double check these. All right, so two things you want to be aware of too when you do this. Make sure these arms have two holes on one side and one on the other. The one hole is to be facing forward towards the front of the car. And the other thing is, that is the correct orientation here. Now, if you skip further ahead in the book, it will tell you when you are, let's get up here. Okay. So you're working with the camber and caster and toe, all that kind of alignment stuff. You are going to change those inserts. And I believe somewhere, so right here on this page, and I believe I said it incorrectly earlier. I said it was supposed to be out and down. It's not. It's supposed to be straight out. But you can change where these inserts are, and all that changing changes where the arm, how pivoted in or out the arm is, or up and down. So Trevor told me set it exactly to spec, and that's what this picture shows in here. Both the fronts and the rearmost rear are centered, and then the inners on the front are facing straight out. So that's how I have them set. We've got the arms. This one might need a little bit more cleaning up. The front ones look good. This one looks good. This one just needs a little bit more. It does move freely, but I might loosen that up. But for now, we have front and rear lower arms on. These little bulkheads here. Center chassis brace and brace supports. The ESC tray. The fan mount, got that all, the side skirts, everything from bag 1 and bag 2 put together. So we're moving along pretty nicely here. And next up, we are going to have putting the front diff gearing all together and assembling the housing itself, build the whole front gearbox up. So that'll be on the next episode. Don't want to make these too long. I'm going to try and keep these generally under 10 minutes. We'll see how long this one turns out. But next we're going to try and get bag 3 and bag 4 done, and then maybe bag 5. We'll see how it goes. Bag 5 seems like a long one, so it might be bag 3 and bag 4 on the next one, and then we'll start 5 on another video. But for now, we got bag 1 and bag 2 done. It's coming together nicely. I'm having fun. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. If you want to stick around and see more, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I'm hoping to progress with this pretty quickly, so the videos shouldn't be too far apart. I'm going to make a playlist with episode 1 and episode 2, and then all the subsequent episodes as we go along. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That helps me out. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and I will try to get back to you. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for coming by, and I will see you guys in the next one.